Aside from my intro, tonight I'll be looking at a very distinct topic under immigration. I'm still looking at the EU settlement scheme. So tonight, if it is the first time that you join us, welcome to CITI Media TV. If you are watching us on the YouTube channel, CITI Law Solicitors YouTube channel, again, welcome if this is your first time. We do this program every Tuesday in English from 9 onwards or 9:30. And then on Thursday, the famous MC Jaka hosts this show in Twi language for all the Ghanaian in the diaspora to be able to enjoy this free legal advice. Tonight, I am looking at retain right. Whenever I'm in this studio, I always announce that because we are in practice and day in, day out to see what is going on, and day in, day out so many things are happening, it's on that basis that we normally prepare some of these topics to give advice to people. Sadly, some people ignore this advice, which is free of charge, and then get into a lot of trouble. Tonight, I want you to invite your friend, your family members, especially those who have leave that have been granted under the EU settlement scheme. Tonight is your opportunity for such very specific advice that will solve most of the issues that most of you are facing. This advice is proudly brought to you by CITI Law Solicitors. Now, what is the topic for tonight? Tonight, I'll be looking at what is retain right under the EU settlement scheme. So I will take my time to gradually look at those who are entitled to retain their right under the settlement scheme or EUSS. But before that, I will give a background of the law under the EU Regulation 2016 and gradually make viewers and listeners aware of their legal rights. And this is an opportune moment for people to listen and heed to this advice, especially those of you who are getting your leaves being revoked for various reasons. This is why retaining your right could help you to avoid most of the problems, because there is a problem here, a problem that is either due to misunderstanding of the law or the application of the law. And for that matter, a lot of people do suffer in the course of time during the currency of their limited leave to remain, which currently is issued under the EU settlement scheme. I'm going to go for a short commercial break. When I come back, I'm going to make sure that I take my time and gradually explain to viewers their legal rights in terms of retaining their right under the settlement scheme by looking at those who are eligible, entitled to retain their rights, and how they can go about in achieving that goal, in protecting their leave to remain granted under the EU settlement scheme if they are facing challenges in their relationship. So guys, don't go away. In the next few minutes after this short commercial break from our sponsor, CITI Law Solicitors, your favorite solicitor will be on this show to give you that advice that you need. So please don't go away. Thank you so much for your patience. Welcome back. As I said before, tonight is your opportunity to enjoy free legal advice. I'm going to take my time to explain few things to viewers under the EU settlement scheme, especially those of you who have been granted limited leave to remain, who are yet to be eligible or be entitled to indefinite leave to remain. It's a journey. So I'm going to take opportunity of this short moment that we have to explain few things. Now, when we say retain right, or the word retain right, what do we mean? This word retain right originates from the European law, and under the previous legislation, which is the EEA Regulation 2016, people retain their right under Regulation 10, and then they can still have some leave to remain, which is then the residence card. And eventually under Regulation 15F, they will then be entitled to permanent residence card, which was then equivalent to indefinite leave to remain. Currently, because we are out of the EU, this law, legislation 2016, have been superseded, which means that it has been taken over by APEDES EU of the immigration rules. And most of you will probably be familiar. Those of you who sometimes have been refused, you realize that caseworkers will quote some of these legislations, and then it's so confusing when you read it as a layperson. This is the law that has superseded the EEA regulations 2016. But under this law, there is something what they call transpose or superseded. It means that something that existed before more or less has been transposed into a new law, but it means almost the same thing. However, there is a little bit of distinction. And tonight I am taking my time. You see, I always say that people that are fortunate to receive some of this advice are able to defend themselves because they know they are right. And those who don't, most times, get into trouble. But I know that if I was doing comedy here, probably I have a lot of people to be viewing. But obviously, the few who are able to watch and listen, it comes handy. And I know what I'm going to talk about by the end of my show. People will understand why I'm making such comment. But hey, it's a good time to be in the studio, which is proudly sponsored by CITI Law Services. Now, going on, or continue with my topic, which is what is retained right. I've explained the basis and the origination where this retained right came from. So essentially, it's for those who are spouses, who are married. So under the old EU law, especially because of what we call domestic abuse, and currently we have the Domestic Abuse Act 2020. I've made a lot of explanations. I've taken my time to take viewers through. So if you have not watched some of these videos, if you go on my platform or CITI Media TV, you see the. So the intention of this retained right is to be able to protect parties in a relationship from domestic abuse. That was the initial intention. Because sometimes, spouses or couples or parties are depending on the other party for their leave to remain or for their status, most times they suffer a lot of abuse, either men or women. I mean, abuse happens to all the parties, so each and every one, whether male or female, can be a victim or a perpetrator. So there is no, though even though most time people think that women are normally abused, but I'm aware because of this practice that some men who are quite horribly abuse in their relationships, and they are so quiet they can't talk about it. But tonight is your opportunity if you are finding yourself in that situation. So the intention, the law is there for the vulnerable. And that's why I am here, for the same vulnerable who may have to be able to absorb this advice and rely on it to know that they do have a right, irrespective of what they are going through in their relationship. So that was the initial intention. So it means that the EU law took recognition or accepted the fact that some relationship will break down in the course of time. Normally, once one enters into marriage with an EU national, under the old law, they are initially granted residence card. Those who are coming from abroad, they are granted family permit for 6 months. Once they get in, they are able to renew it and get residence card. And then after 5 years of being in that relationship, those people then end up getting their permanent residence card. Now, as this law has been superseded, now people who are coming from abroad as spouses or children of those spouses of the EU national, they get EU family permit. And then when they come in, they also get renew it, they get limited leave to remain, which is valid for 5 years. And being in that relationship for continuously for 5 years, they get indefinite leave to remain. So you see, the law is the same. Soon I'm going to explain why there is a little bit of distinction between the old law and the new law, and why most of these decisions that are coming out, especially those who are being encountered at the border and their leaves being revoked quite unlawfully. But obviously people will understand why I'm saying this by the end of my submission tonight. So you see that you have this 5 years to, under the EU settlement scheme, to get your indefinite leave to remain under Appendix EU 11, which is the new legislation, the new law. But what happens if you can't find your wife, you can't find your husband, if your relationship breaks down, if your wife or husband decides that this is how far I can come with this relationship, I'm not going ahead with this marriage anymore, and I'm not here to support your application anymore? Where do you then go from there? You probably have been left in the middle of the sea. And therefore, most people find themselves in these challenges, and it's quite common for relationships, sadly, to break down, especially in the United Kingdom, for various reasons. And therefore, when this relationship breaks down, especially the parties who are relying on the other one for their status or for their leave to remain, tend to suffer most. And one who asks, what is the solution? Because the members of states were aware of all these challenges. That's why they brought in this law, which was translated as Regulation 10 in the old law, and now is still Appendix EU 14 under the new law. So it means that one can retain their right under certain conditions. And there are a specific group of people who can retain their right. So please listen carefully. First and foremost, it's only those who have entered into marriage and have been granted their leave as spouses who will be eligible to retain their right. So those of you who may come here as children of EU national or families of that children, and may decide that one problem or the other, or one reason or the other, you don't want to be under your mother or your father. I've had clients who come to me and I tell them, you need to go back to your sponsor because you can't retain your right. You are not a spouse. And they say, oh, lawyer, is there nothing you can do? I said, yes, there is nothing I can do for you, and I don't want to take your money, knowing very well I can't do anything for you, because I know the law. So you need to be a spouse to retain your right. But even that, you can say retain your right under the new law. But you should have been in this relationship for at least 3 years. And this was the same condition that was under Regulation 10 of the EU Regulation 2016. So you should have been in this relationship for 3 years. And if you are in this relationship for 3 years, either the relationship has broken down irretrievably, most commonly, and has been ended by divorce, or you have a court order for a child that is an EU national, or in most cases because of domestic abuse, the relationship has ended. Or maybe the EU national has been here continuously for more than a year, and sadly, he or she is deceased. He has passed on. He has died. So you can retain your right under those circumstances. So, but most common is the divorce. Therefore, when one retains their right, what happens to the other family members? So let's say Akosua was married to an EU national. After 3 years, the marriage has broken down irretrievably, and Akosua have ended this marriage by divorce after 3 years. Does Akosua get leave to remain, or does it mean the Akosua status has become invalid? The answer is no. Akosua status is still valid. Akosua have two options: either to make an application for retained right. In that case, when Akosua travels to Ghana or Nigeria or anywhere else and he's coming, nobody is going to ask you, what is your wife or your husband? Because Akosua has quite rightly retained their right. And they don't need to be questioned about how the other EU person is. But let's say Akosua or whoever has retained that right has younger children who are either under 21 or above 21. And once, especially those who will be above 21. So let's say Akosua retained the right. Those children probably join in the course of time and they've not been here for up to the 5 years, or even sometimes not up to 3 years. So Akosua have retained their right because they have been the knowledge in the marriage which has subsisted for 3 years and has broken down irretrievably. It's been ended by divorce, and for that matter, Akosua has divorced. Children have been here for less than 2 years. What happens to these children in this relationship? Now, recently I was dealing with, in fact, we had a case that we have to prepare quite seriously for it. And the party concerned is more than 21 years. The mother have divorced long time ago, and Home Office said that no, you are more than 21, so you are not entitled to getting the leave to remain, except to show that you are financially dependent on your EU sponsor. The EU sponsor is no longer in the relationship because they are divorced. So these are some of the complexities that when you are retaining your right, you need proper advice to be able to deal with it. But the law makes provision that under regulation, under Appendix EU 11, there are 7 areas, out of which one can get indefinite leave to remain, and one of them is retained right. So it doesn't matter what age you are, and obviously it doesn't matter whether that child is more than 21 or not. As long as either the father or the mother have retained their right, they jointly retain that right. I'm taking my time to explain some of these things. These are things that are happening. But let me look at those who travel abroad and are coming back, and then as they are stopped and their leaves are revoked. And it's very common as a lawyer. I know clients that will call me that I'm having problem with my wife, I'm having problem with my husband. And these problems are genuine problems that people are facing. And of course, most relationships go through problems. Today, your girlfriend might be happy with you. Tomorrow, he might not be happy with you. Today, your wife could be so happy. Tomorrow, the husband, the same problem. So when people are having these problems, the sad thing is that when they travel and they are coming back, they get their leaves revoked. So if you are in any of those circumstances, and I have looked at some of these decisions being made quite unfair, in a sense that there's one thing that I want to say here. Under the previous law, we had what they call exercising treaty right under Regulation 6, which means that one will be what they call a qualified person if that person was working or self-employed or was a student and have private medical insurance, or was self-sufficient and have private medical insurance. Recently, even though we have left the EU, case laws are still coming up to say that even those students who were compelled to have private medical insurance in order for them to be a qualified person were quite unlawful. And I'm sure some campaigners are pursuing, those who have suffered this injustice are pursuing this case. I don't know whether in the end it will result in some compensation for being treated unlawfully under the EU regulations. But I'm looking at those who are coming from abroad and are getting their leaves revoked. And sometimes when I see some of these decisions, I ask myself, why do caseworkers make decisions of this nature against genuine applicants or spouses who have just one way or the other gone for funeral and are coming back from their holiday and are being stopped? And their leaves are being revoked. So I want to look at this Regulation 6 quite carefully, because it's one of the main reasons why people's leave are being revoked. Even though sometimes it may allege marriage of communion, but that's a sensitive area. But at another particular time, I will take my time to explain the conundrum between all these issues in terms of which one is sham, which one is genuine, which one is convenience. There are all these three that even judges sometimes conflate this law, and it's quite complex in nature. But I'm not going into this tonight. I'm looking at why people get their leave revoked. I have obviously explained this retained right. And for those of you who are taking this advice, I'm sure it will go a long way to help you. Now, I have just looked at this Regulation 6, and this Regulation 6 was looking at a qualified person. When we were in the EU, we were looking at free movement of EU nationals and their family members. And those people to be able to move freely with their family members, which was what entitled those family members to residence card. They were meant to be recognized as what they call a qualified person. And a qualified person is someone who is either self-employed, employed, a student with private medical insurance, or self-sufficient. But when we left the European Union, and this law came into place, which is the Appendix EU of the immigration rules, there is nothing like exercising treaty right anymore. In fact, there is no requirement for anyone to exercise treaty right, because that has been abolished under the old law. The new law does not require it. And under the previous law, there was what they call Regulation 6 and Regulation 3. Regulation 3 will be looking at if, for example, one did not work and didn't work continuously for more than 6 months, then there is a break of continuity. So most times we will make application and the Home Office might come out and say that the EU person have not been working continuously for 5 years, and therefore the spouse or the partner is not entitled to permanent residence card, which was then equivalent to indefinite leave to remain. But currently, as we talk, or as I speak here, there is no requirement. But it is not surprising that people are making requests of what is not required under the law in order to revoke leave that have been lawfully granted to applicants. It's quite sad. But having said that, so you realize that sometimes when these people are counted, we say that we've checked your spouse, there is no record that he's working, we have checked with HMRC, there's no record that he's working, and therefore we are revoking your leave. And then I ask myself, Under what powers are you revoking that leave if you have checked with HMRC and there is no evidence that that person is working, which is exercising duty right? When in fact, there is no requirement for one to exercise duty right. If you look at your limited leave to remain, it's quite clearly stated there that when you stay out of this country for continuously for 2 years as an EU national with limited leave to remain, then that leave will become invalid. So tell me, if you checked and my spouse is not working, and for example, I've had my leave for less than 2 years, and my spouse was probably issued EU settlement scheme about 2020. We are in 2022, depending on which month that the person was issued, and it's not up to 2 years. On what basis do you then revoke my leave? On the basis that record does not show that he's working, when in fact, whichever way you look at it, from the date of issue of the sponsor's EU settlement scheme or limited leave to remain, up to the date you're making that decision, it's not up to 2 years. But even if you checked and there was no record of working, the guidance makes it clear that when the starting point is check if one is working, and if that person is not working, you cannot check it automatically, then of course you request for evidence of residency, which is more or less a proof of address. And there are numerous lists of proof of address in terms of house bills, electricity, gas, water, TV, telephone bills, and invoices with evidence of payment. So that list is endless. However, people are being stopped and their leaves are being revoked, relying on the old law, which is obsolete, which does not apply anymore to these parties. And it's becoming so common. And sometimes when, one time someone asked me, lawyer, when you give this free advice to people, how do you then get busy? I always said that CITI Law Solicitors, we are here to impact knowledge, to make people aware of their rights, to give free legal advice. And those who have genuine problems, we take joy in assisting them to resolve those problems. But we are also here to make sure that if we can give knowledge to assist people who have been following us and more or less partners of this CITI Law Solicitors, why shouldn't we? So that's why I'm here tonight. So gradually coming to the end of my program, because I don't want to take too much time tonight. But all in all, I'm going to summarize what I've discussed so far. And if anybody has questions about this retained right, I'm going to give opportunity for those people to ask me. For tonight, if you have just joined us, I have taken my time to explain which people can retain their right, how they can do it, the laws that are being used to revoke people's leave, which is no longer applicable. And I've also looked at how people can lawfully retain their rights so that they can avoid most of these problems, getting their leaves revoked, especially those who travel abroad and then are coming back. So tonight, if you've just joined us, you probably haven't missed much, but even when after I've left this studio, please, you can still watch these videos and educate yourself and send it to friends and family, because last week, a flight that was coming, our firm personally did with about 4 cases of people whose leave has been revoked for the same reason, relying on the old law. And some stuff that I cannot say it on camera, because sometimes when I looked at it, it's quite sickening. But people need to know their right. Because sometimes people have this leave and they don't even read the conditions, they don't even read the letter that has been given to them, and what's right they have when they are traveling and when they are asked questions, what they should say. Because if you assume that the person that probably asks you question even knows the answer, he probably doesn't know. And that's why sometimes applications are refused and then we go to tribunal and then win cases for people. I was just explaining to you how one client that we represented with a very complex case with some criminal background and some other stuff, and eventually application being refused under retained right, and the court agreeing with CITI law solicitors that CITI law solicitors is right, that person must have his indefinite leave to remain and the appeal being allowed, is because the caseworker either misapplied the law or didn't understand the law. But it's for you to know you are right. And that's why we do some of these programs, for you guys to benefit from this free legal advice. So tonight, if it is the first time that you've joined us, I always repeat that we do this program every Tuesday in English and every Thursday. And whenever I come here, I sense the mood. I am not a pastor, but sometimes my spirit tells me that people are going through challenges and difficulties. And I have seen that last week we had about 4 cases of people's leave being revoked. We had it and we are dealing with it under the law. And for this retained right is something that people, if you think you're having difficulties in your relationship, you probably have to look at retaining your right. Because if you don't do so, eventually, one reason or the other, that leave could be revoked. And obviously, I have taken my time to explain what Revocation 3 under the old law is, what Revocation 6 under the old law is, and why these laws should no longer be applicable under the new law. But that notwithstanding, they are still being relied upon by caseworkers to revoke people's leave day in, day out. That we are seeing people being frustrated, and it's so sad. So please, share this video with some of your friends who have had some of these problems and let them know that the law is on their side. Having said that, I want to acknowledge my viewers tonight because soon I'm going to bring the program to an end. I'm also going to ensure that I soon give you people the phone lines and you can ask questions because this program is all about you. It's about giving you free legal advice. It's making sure that, hey, you are covered with the law. So let me just quickly go to those who have come on board tonight. And we have Levels Gilbert. He said we are glued to our laptops and phones to listen to our legal advice lawyer. Much grateful for taking time out of your busy schedule to educate us every Tuesday and Thursday. Levels Gilbert, thank you so much for also partaking in this program every Tuesday and Thursday. I have Nana Kofi, is a lawyer one. Nana Kofi, thank you so much for joining the show. I have Kuku Tanoku, my own brother. It's informative, educative, and unique adversary. Kudos, lawyer Thomas and team. No size. We have Desmond Bernier, who is watch you live. Thanks for the good job, lawyer. So, guys, if you are watching me tonight, I want me to acknowledge you. I can only acknowledge those who are making comments on this platform. I have Guy Piper. Guy Piper is Peter, my own former schoolmate in Legon, Evander, who is always here to join us to have this show. Hey, guys, so I can see people who are also watching and are giving thumbs up. I have Aduchunwa. How are you doing? Thank you so much. You're also part of this program every day. We have Nana Kwame Sapon. Wow, I have a stranger here. I have my own brother, Benjamin Ajaso, watching tonight. Benjamin, thank you so much for being part of the show. I have Level Gilbert, whom I have acknowledged already. I have Nana Kofi. I have Cynthia Akama. Cynthia is one of my favorite clients. Thank you so much for also being part of the. I have Sophia Asong. Sophia, all shall be well. I have Tika Opa from Nigeria. I have Sama. Sama, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I have Yaovi Abitovi. Thank you for joining us. Tora, how are you? I know you're doing well. My regards to my Moroccan friends. Thank you so much. I have Hausa Bez and Inchi Opa, the princess. So, guys, if this is the first time you've joined us, or if you just join us, tonight I have looked at the EU law, the embodiment, how you can attain your indefinite leave to remain without getting it revoked if you are having challenges in your relationship, which is quite common. You probably have to consider retaining your right, because if you don't retain your right, eventually you could have a problem. That's why there are provisions in the law, but people need to understand the law in order to rely on those provisions, because if you don't rely on those provisions, eventually you might get into trouble. And even before I became a lawyer, I always heard the saying that ignorance of the law is no excuse. And that's why we do some of these programs for people to understand their rights. People who have this limited leave to remain, quite rightly, a lot of you, because of the Brexit, were granted the leave. But of course, relationship, just like any other relationship or friendship, eventually may hit rocks, and there are challenges, and people need to position themselves to know what they should do when those challenges come and which law they should rely upon. And that is why I have taken my time to explain retain right tonight. I'm going to put the phone lines on there. If anybody has a question and want to ask, this is your opportunity to ask questions. And when you ask those questions, I'm going to call out the phone lines for viewers, especially for those who want to ask questions. Now, if you want to call or phone in to ask a question tonight, we have we have two studio numbers here that we are working with tonight. We have studio number 1, 079 3293 4518. I repeat, 079 3293 4518. That's serial number 1. Serial number 2, 0744 033 8623. 0744 033 8623. We have these two studio numbers that are currently opened. If you want to join the program, either make contribution. I've got someone who is calling now. Hello, caller. You don't have to mention your name. You can just ask your question. Hello.
Hello, am I through to the live show?
Yes, 1 second.
Okay.
Caller number 2, please hold on. When I finish with caller number 1, I will deal with you.
Okay.
All right, please go ahead.
Right. I would like to contribute to the program and perhaps ask a question. It hasn't unraveled itself yet, the question, but the contribution is on the way. As in the here and now, the continuum of the journey. In today's society, as certain people do mention, even one of my friends, he turned around and he said to me, he's written a journal. And this is a true story, brother. This is a live contribution, and it's gospel. So one of my friends, he said to me, today's British society is actually becoming a very, very, more civilization that has a culture that is adhered themselves to work. And looking back, I mean, during the times of, say, who are some of the famous prime ministers we've had? But now, it's at its epitome, the climax of the pyramid, the head, the top of the pyramid. Why? Because Boris Johnson has brought in so much stuff.
Peter,
is becoming part of the civilized
Peter, I understand that we are not doing politics tonight, Peter.
I love to contribute to the show more often than not.
I know.
Because we, looking back at this EU settlement scheme, people moving here and there and when getting out of the EU, some of these things, I think they should just come back again and join again because.
Okay, Peter, we'll do that another time. Let me look at the other person who is on the line. We'll do that another time.
Yeah. So that's my contribution anyway.
Thank you, Peter. Hello, you hold on. I have another caller. I'll come back to you, please. Hold on. I will have another caller. I'll come back to you. Yes, please, you can go ahead. The second caller.
Yeah, hello. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, please. My name is Rachel. I just want to ask, so if one has the limited leave to remain and the person is in his or her fourth year, how do you retain your right?
Good question. Yes, you can retain your right. Maybe you probably join late. You retain your right as long as you are married. If you can't retain your right if you are a partner. If you are married, you can retain your right after 3 years of marriage. But, this is the but, you can't get indefinite leave to remain until you have been 5 years in total from the start date of your marriage, if you were living in the UK.
Yeah, because I was going to say that, because I can't remember when I did my EU settlement scheme, the Home Office called me and then they said, oh, if I have stayed with my husband for 5 years, they would have given me indefinite leave to remain. But for now, they will give me pre-settlement.
That's right. Let me tell you, yes.
Limited leave to remain. So am I happy for them to give me that? And I said yes.
Yes, that's right, because you can retain your right after at least after 3 years of marriage if the relationship ends. So at that point, you have two options: either to apply for retained rights so that it goes on record that you are no longer under the EU nationals. You are no longer.
How do you do that?
You make an application for that. But
so there is an application for
that. Yes, there's an application for retained rights. If you look at the Appendix EU 14, there are those who can make retained rights application. But if you want to make retained right application for indefinite leave to remain, that comes under Appendix EU 11. So what people get confused is that your marriage needs to be at least 3 years. You should have at least lived in this country for a year or more, and then you can retain your right. But you need to have been here continuously for 5 years. So which means that if your marriage started in 2017...
For 5 years is the time I got
not the time...
I stay.
No, the time you got married, if you were already living in the UK.
Oh, yeah. I got married in 2018.
So that would be 2023, the month of that...
2023 is my 5th year.
That's right. Yeah? All right.
Oh.
Any more questions before there was...
And then please, one more question. I have made an application under the EU law for my daughter. She's 12 years to come.
One second.
From the Home Office.
Caller, hold on a second. Okay, let me finish with this person. That one couldn't hold. Well, guys, you can. Hello.
Hello,
Yes, you don't have to mention your name. You can just ask your question and then go ahead.
Thank you for the good job. This is Solomon.
Okay.
I want to ask a question with regards to those who have their leaves revoked when they're coming back from Ghana.
Yes.
Now, if your leave is being revoked, do they give you chance for a representation to be made?
Yes.
And also, do they give you options if you qualify for other leaves or other leave to remain or other applications to be made?
Good. That's a very, very good question. Whenever a leave is revoked, you have a right to appeal. Sadly, sometimes these guys get confused. Either they ask them to come for an interview and eventually they get a letter that their leave has been revoked, and sometimes they get confused whether they have the right to appeal or not. And even sometimes they give them bail conditions, unrestricted bail conditions. The starting point is that if your leave is revoked, look at that letter. It will give you right to appeal within 14 days. That right needs to be exercised. If you don't exercise that right, your leave is gone. You automatically become illegal after 14 years. You ask a very sensible question. For example, your leave has been revoked, you have made an application, you have lodged an appeal. Within that status where you've lodged your appeal, your status is reinstated on the second time that appeal is dismissed. It simply means that you can switch. For example, if you want to become a skilled worker. Recently, I was advising one of my clients that, looking at the kind of decision that have been made against you, you probably have been looking at switching to a skilled worker, so that if you were to lose this case, you say maintain your status under a different category. So you are allowed to do that, provided you exercise your right to appeal, which is the paragraph 3C or D, right, of the 1971 Immigration Act.
Okay, that's good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Guys, I'm here for the next 5 minutes. If anybody has a question, this is the opportunity to get free legal advice. Somebody just asked a question. I'm very aware that a lot of people are getting their leave revoked for the wrong reasons, and City Law Solicitors, we are here to help you guys, to advise you, and to make sure that obviously you don't get yourself into some of these things. So looking at, I have Cynthia and Kama, I have Kweku, I have those of you who are still watching. If you want to be acknowledged, you give me you make a comment, and I'm going to obviously acknowledge you. Now at this point, I'm taking time whilst I'm waiting for callers to come in. There is one, the lady who was asking the second question, I think whilst I was picking the call, that line dropped. You are still free to ask as many questions as possible. You can call in again and I will say answer your questions. This is your free legal hour. Now, this program, I have Yao Owusu Afriye as a day here. Yao Owusu Afriye, thank you so much for joining us. Yes. This program is proudly sponsored by City Law Solicitors. City Law Solicitors, we are located at Barking. If you are looking for us, don't go far. Just come to Barking Station. Once you get to the station, you turn right. You see a KFC there. You can sit there and just have some chicken, and then after that, you just turn right. Come down the road to the traffic light. You see that beautiful building, Barking Enterprise Center. That's where we can find. You can find us. If you want our address is Unit 113 and 112. Unit 113 and 112. We have 2 offices there, so you can come Barking Enterprise Center, 50 Cambridge Road, Barking, IG11 8FJ. Unit 113 and 112. Barking Enterprise Center, 50 Cambridge Road, Barking, IG11 8FJ. Barking. If you want to contact our office line, 02033550788. 2. If you look at the screen, you can see that we have the phone lines there. We also have the scrolling graphic, our phone number there. Emergency contact 0777 777 210 4967. 0777 210 4967. We specialize in numerous areas of law. In fact, we are here for the community because we are here to serve the community. And for that reason, we specialize in all the areas of law that will support you to make you are living in the UK very, very convenient and comfortable. So we specialize in immigration and nationality law and the EU law, which I've just taken my time to explain to you here. We specialize in family law. If you are not having contact with your child and you want to have child arrangement order in place, we are here to support you. If you found yourself in an unfortunate situation that you're going through divorce and you want your matrimonial assets to be divided equally, we are here to also assist you. We are family law accredited. There is a distinction between the two, being a solicitor and being family law accredited. So we can help those who are going through that. Please, you don't have to mention your name. You can simply ask your question.
Sorry, I'm the one who called and then the line went off. I was about to ask the question on my daughter's application under the EU law. They haven't responded yet, and September it's 1 year. So I don't know if you can say something about that as well.
Yes. What I can say is that you have to continue to monitor your email. And
I have been, and now when you call them, the only thing that comes up is if you're calling from Ukraine, yes, but if not Ukraine, they will get back to you. Nobody talks to you. It's just an automated system that comes up.
Yes, I'm not sure which number you are calling, but when you call, sometimes they will ask you whether you have been contacted by a caseworker. Sometimes you select that option, and eventually that takes you.
Maybe I'm calling the wrong number.
Yes. Yes, what I'll do is that I'll put the number on my Facebook page when I finish this show so that you can take it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then call the right number, because there are so many numbers to reach the Home Office. And if you call the wrong one, you may end up in Ukraine, or you may end up with a sponsorship license application, or you end up with the private life application. So I'll put that line there, or I will ask my colleagues who are also making notes on the platform.
It would be very, very great if you can put the number.
I will put the number there and obviously select the options.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, madam. Yes, so as I was saying, we specialize in this family law, which we are family law accredited. So you can always get the best from us if we are representing you in family law. We also specialize in personal injury and clinical negligence. If you have an accident at work, if you were in a motor accident, if you had an accident at the workplace, we deal with all these cases. And we deal with these cases on no win, no fee basis. We only get paid if we win your case. So we are not here to take money from you, but to help you to make money for yourself. We also specialize in employment law. If you have been unfairly dismissed from work, if you are going through redundancy and you want to get some advice so that you can understand your settlement agreement, we are here to assist you. If you have been a victim of discrimination at the workplace, whether because of your protected characteristics as a black person, as a disabled person, as a pregnant woman, or because of your religion, we are here to fight your corner. Again, it's on no win, no fee. Most times, some of these cases, we either fight it all the way to the employment tribunal, or we get settlement, and then you make money only when we get paid. No me, no fee. So employment law, please remember that if you have any other employment law problem, City Law Solicitors, we are here to help. Housing law, if you are living in a house that is in a disrepair state, you are entitled to compensation. We'll be able to assist you to deal with that. Consumer law, I've taken my time to explain how insurance companies should not wriggle out of their claims, why your bank account should not be closed, why you should be entitled to compensation for various reasons. I have dealt with some of these things on this platform, on our consumer law. Media law and entertainment, if for whatever reason you have any of these areas of law that you want legal assistance or advice, City Law Solicitors, we are here to assist you. Guys, if you have missed any part of this program, or you find it very exciting and insightful, you can watch this again on my platform, on City Law Solicitors YouTube channel. You can watch on City Media TV, and then you can also join on Thomas Bebon profile. It's been a very great privilege to have you tonight. And I'm so thankful to all of you who have joined tonight. Lina Afia Damayo. Lina Afia Damayo. Lina, how are you? I have good news for you. Right, so guys, it's been nice having you on board. If anybody has questions, I'm almost rounding up now. And on Thursday, MC Chaka will be here. We'll have the show in Twi. Somebody told me now I am perfect in the Twi language. Mibube. So on Thursday, we're going to have the Twi program. I will take my time to be able to explain to people how they can avoid getting their leave revoked. It's becoming so common. Last week, 4 cases. It makes us rich, but that's not what we want for our friends and family members. That's why I'm giving you free legal advice. So guys, on Thursday we have the Twi session. I'll take my time to explain everything to you guys. Tell your friends, tell your family members that MC Chaka is going to be here on Thursday, and we have this Twi section for all of you in the diaspora. Thank you so much, and God bless you. God bless you.